Hey everybody and welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today
Oh, yeah.
into the Moscow airport closures that happened on December 26th.
Right.
And we've got some news here from NBC and Metro, and of course all the crazy stuff that's on Reddit right now.
Yeah, always.
So, a lot of facts, a lot of speculation.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions that we want to try to answer today.
Yeah, for sure.
What really went on and what it all means, so.
What I think what is really interesting to me is,
Yeah.
that there's, no information out there
Right.
about what, actually happened.
Right.
We've got, 4 of Moscow's main airports,
Uh-huh.
and then one 100 miles away in Kaluga.
Right.
They all just shut down
Yep.
completely,
Yeah.
and then a few hours later, they reopened.
Yeah.
But, the official statements were
Vague.
so vague.
Yeah.
Flight safety and necessary measures.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It doesn't really tell us anything,
Yeah.
Especially since
Right.
it's not like it was a snow day or something
No.
with everything going on.
It's a little more than a snow day.
Yeah.
Especially with Ukraine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
On the same day
Yeah.
as all the airport closures were happening,
Right.
there are reports of 3
Wow.
Ukrainian missiles being
Mhm.
shot down over the Kursk region.
Yeah.
I mean, that on its own would be enough
Big news.
to
Yeah.
raise anxiety levels.
Right.
But then you've got that happening
Yeah.
against the backdrop of all this concern
Uh-huh.
about drone attacks
Uh-huh.
on Russian territory.
Right.
It's oh no, what's going on?
We have this unclear picture.
Yeah.
And it's nobody knows what's going on.
Right.
And so everybody's coming up with these theories,
Of course.
and Reddit is just
oh yeah.
buzzing with
A hive of activity.
speculation.
Yeah.
Some of it is really crazy.
Some of it's pretty out there.
Out there stuff.
Yeah.
But some of it, I think, is
Yeah.
actually kind of worth thinking about.
For sure.
Yeah.
The most common theory that's out there is that the closures were just
Yeah.
a security thing.
Just being safe.
Yeah, just being safe.
Yeah.
Either they were
Yeah.
reacting to, an immediate threat
Right.
like drones or missiles or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was
Yeah.
a broader attempt by Russia to be
Right.
you know what, we're going to control this airspace
Yeah.
as things with Ukraine,
Yeah. They're heating up.
keep heating up.
So you got to be careful.
Right.
And the Metro article that you sent
Mm-hmm.
mentioned this carpet plan
Yeah.
for drone threats.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that could be related?
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
The article suggests that this carpet plan involves grounding all flights.
Wow.
Whenever a drone is spotted in the area.
Interesting.
Yes.
So as soon as they see a drone,
Yeah.
everybody's grounded.
Everybody's grounded.
Wow.
And if that's the case,
Yeah.
it could explain why
Yeah.
the airports were shut down so suddenly and across the
Yeah,
pond.
so sudden.
Yeah.
And some people on Reddit were saying
Oh, yeah?
that maybe they were trying to
Yeah.
keep people from leaving Russia.
Mm.
Maybe
Interesting.
it was a signal
Hmm.
that things are going to get
Things are about to get,
a lot stricter inside Russia.
yeah, much stricter.
What do you think?
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
And it's worth considering.
Yeah.
But the fact that they reopened the airports
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
seems to suggest that maybe that wasn't the goal.
Yeah.
If they were really trying to
Yeah.
restrict travel indefinitely, why reopen them after just a few hours,
Yeah, that's a good point.
right?
That is a really good point.
That doesn't really make sense.
And of course,
Irritating.
the internet wouldn't be the internet
Yeah.
without the crazy theories.
The really wild stuff.
Yeah. I saw people talking about cyber attacks and
Oh,
UFOs.
yeah, of course. Eternal powers.
Yeah, coups and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so interesting how
The
people
surge.
just fill in the blanks
The gaps.
with just
Yeah.
whatever they can come up with.
Well, it's natural. It's a human thing
Right.
to try and
Yeah.
make sense of stuff,
We one of those.
especially when it's something we don't understand.
Yeah, we want to make sense of things, understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to know.
And even if it means
Yeah.
coming up with some outlandish explanation,
Right. Right.
But even though
Yeah.
those theories can be fun,
Entertaining.
yeah, they're fun to think about.
Yeah.
It's important to stay grounded
Yeah.
in the facts.
In evidence-based analysis
Yes.
and not just jump to conclusions.
Right.
Because otherwise you just end up going down these rabbit holes
The rabbit hole.
that lead to nowhere.
Yeah, and even when we do stick to the facts,
Yeah.
there's still so much to figure out here.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that's I think really important,
Right.
and it's adding to all the speculation,
Yeah.
is the Azerbaijan Airlines crash.
Oh, right.
That happened just the day before.
The day before the airport closures.
Yeah, the airport closures.
That's right. So that adds
like a whole
other dimension to the situation.
It makes it even more confusing.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's just tragic.
Yeah, it's awful.
An Azerbaijan Airlines Embraer 190
right.
crashed in Kazakhstan.
Oh, my gosh.
Killed 38 people.
Wow.
The plane was on its way from Baku to Grozny in Chechnya.
Wow, and the Azerbaijan government
right.
is saying that Russia shot it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a serious accusation.
Yeah, that's
And it shouldn't be taken lightly.
It's a big deal.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And there are eyewitness accounts.
Oh, wow.
And even video footage that shows the plane, like, descending really rapidly and then just bursting into flames.
Oh, my God.
When it hits the ground. So it just seems like, yeah, it seems like it was like a missile or something.
Well, and the investigations are still going on.
Right.
But one aviation security expert who was quoted in that NBC article seems to think that the evidence points to the plane being shot down.
Oh, wow.
By like a Russian air defense system.
So like they they
like an enemy plane.
They like a threat or something.
And they just shot it down.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really disturbing.
And if that's true, like what does that say about Russia's air defense?
Exactly.
Like, are they just incompetent?
Are they incompetent?
Or was this intentional?
Incompetent, or is there something else going on?
It's really scary.
Yeah.
And some people on Reddit were bringing up MH17.
Of course.
And KL007.
Right.
Like
big incidents.
Yeah, those other times.
Yeah.
When Russia shot down.
Or the Soviets.
Yeah. Civilian aircraft.
Right. Yeah, so those comparisons.
It's not a good look for Russia.
No, they're not.
No. And it's just.
And this latest incident is just going to make things worse.
It's going to add fuel to the fire.
It's going to fuel those concerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it raises the stakes.
Yeah.
Significantly, you know?
Like it makes.
It's another layer.
Yeah, this already unstable situation.
And volatile situation.
Yeah. So we've got these closed airports.
Right.
And these missiles being shot down.
Right.
And then this plane crash.
Right.
And just
a whole bunch of questions. Yes.
Unanswered questions.
It's like watching
a game of chess.
Like a geopolitical chess match.
Yeah.
But
a stake.
Real people's lives.
So high.
Yeah.
That are at stake.
Because these are real lives that are being impacted.
Yeah. And what I find really interesting is like the timing.
What about it?
Of all of this.
Yeah.
You know, the airport closures happened right after the Azerbaijan Airlines crash. And with all the tension with Ukraine, it just it makes everything feel
this atmosphere
of uncertainty.
Yeah, and just
unpredictable.
Unpredictability.
Like anything could happen.
Yeah, anything could happen.
It's scary.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the Reddit comments, and people are reacting.
Oh, yeah.
In all sorts of different ways.
People always have different reactions to this kind of stuff.
Some people are like making jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And some people seem terrified.
Right.
And some people just seem confused.
Sure.
It's just so interesting to see how one event can trigger.
It is interesting.
All these different reactions.
How people respond to these kinds of things.
Yeah.
It's understandable, though, when you're faced with uncertainty, especially when it involves like potential conflict and danger.
Yeah.
People cope.
In different ways.
Right. Yeah.
So,
some people use humor.
Yeah, like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism.
Right. And then other people might lean into the fear. Or the speculation.
Or come up with theories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to try and
make sense of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's important to remember that like we're not just talking about like abstract stuff here.
Yeah.
You know? Like geopolitical this and that.
Right.
Like this is
it's people.
Real human consequences.
Yeah, it's really easy to forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those 38 people on that Azerbaijan Airlines flight.
It's awful.
Families.
Yeah.
Individuals.
They had lives.
With their own stories and dreams.
Yeah, and plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gone.
And it just makes you think.
It does.
Like, how do we even begin to make sense of this?
It's tough.
It's so complex.
It is.
And tragic.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's easy to get lost in all the details and like the conflicting information. But I think
the first step is to like acknowledge the emotional impact, to actually let ourselves feel the weight of this. And then we can try to approach it with a combo of empathy and critical thinking.
I like that.
Yeah.
Empathy and critical thinking.
Because it's easy to just get swept up in the outrage.
The anger.
The fear.
The fear, even
like the dark humor that we see online. But ultimately...
Yeah, we have to be able to...
We gotta analyze
the situation clearly.
If we want to know.
If we want any hope of understanding what's really going on.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where the critical thinking comes in.
Where the critical thinking comes in.
Yeah.
We need to be able to separate fact from fiction.
Truth from lies.
Yeah. And like evaluate
different perspectives.
Yeah.
And consider the potential motives.
Right. And like
consequences.
And what are the consequences? Of all these different actions?
Of different actions.
Yeah. So let's try to like apply that to the airport closures.
Okay.
Like what could be
what are
the reasons behind that?
Some of the possible reasons.
Why would they do that?
Why would Russia just shut down their airspace?
Even if it was just for a few hours?
Right.
Like that's a big deal.
Yeah. I think the most likely explanation seems to be that they were just like really worried about security.
Like extra cautious?
Yeah, extra cautious.
Yeah.
In response to like the threat of those drone attacks.
Those drone attacks.
Yeah.
Which are getting more frequent.
And remember those Ukrainian missiles that got shot down over Kursk.
Yeah, on the same day.
On the same day.
Yeah.
That really
lends
a lot of weight to this theory.
That they were just being extra careful.
Yeah, it suggests that Russian air defenses were on high alert. Yeah. And maybe the airport closures were
just a precaution.
To avoid any
safe
potential collateral damage.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
But some people are saying that it was more than that.
More than just a defensive reaction.
Like a defensive thing?
Yeah.
They think it was.
They see it as like a show of force.
Like Russia was...
Yeah, like flexing their muscles.
Yeah.
Sending a message.
Yeah, to Ukraine.
To Ukraine.
And the world.
Into the world.
Like, hey, we're in control here.
Don't mess with us.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, closing down
it's possible.
All the major airports is a pretty big move.
It's
a dramatic move. Yeah, it causes disruption. Yeah, and it definitely...
It sends a signal.
Sends a message.
Of resolve.
Yeah. But we also have to think about...
But we also got to consider...
Downsides.
The downsides of that strategy.
What could go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like... A show of force might play well to like the people in Russia.
The Russian people, yeah.
But it could backfire internationally.
Yeah, it could
because it kind of reinforces
Russia look bad.
That image of Russia as like
this aggressive,
this unpredictable,
and
potentially aggressive actor.
Yeah,
and that could isolate them even more.
Yeah, push them away.
Yeah,
from the rest of the world.
From the rest of the world.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that Russia might be trying to control the story.
Oh, yeah, the narrative.
Yeah.
Right?
Like control what people are thinking.
Control the information.
Yeah. Do you think that those vague statements?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the lack of transparency.
Yeah, it just makes people more suspicious.
Definitely feeds into the
rumors, the speculation.
And the uncertainty.
And it just lets people...
Yeah, and by not providing detail.
The blanks.
Yeah, Russia kind of gets to...
Yeah, they get to...
Control the narrative.
Control the narrative.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's almost worse.
And that lack of transparency can be just as damaging.
Yeah, because it's like any chance... There's this vacuum.
And this information...
Of information.
Yeah.
And people just fill it.
Because it creates this vacuum that gets filled with rumors and conspiracy theories.
Oh, crazy stuff.
And just wild speculation.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's really important.
So it's super important to be critical of the information
we're getting.
We consume. Yeah. Especially in these situations where
where the stakes are high.
The stakes are high.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows.
The motives are often unclear, you know.
Okay, so let's try and like put this all together.
Yeah. What do we know?
Piece it together. Yeah. What do we know?
We've got the airport closures.
Could be defensive.
Couldn't be defensive.
Could be a show of force.
Or a show of force.
We got these missiles being shot down.
Ukrainian missiles over Kursk.
Which just shows
how
tense things are.
Tensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
how easy it would be.
The potential.
Things to escalate.
For escalation.
Yeah.
Is definitely there.
Yeah, and then we've got this horrible, tragic
crash
of the Azerbaijan Airlines flight.
Which is making everybody question.
Which raises serious questions about
Russia? And
their air defense
and reliability of Russian air defense.
Like, are they?
Yeah.
Like, are they
doing this on purpose?
Are they?
Or are they just bad at their jobs?
Incompetent, or is there something else going on?
Yeah, and we can't forget about.
And we can't
ignore the historical context.
MH17.
Those incidents,
large.
They're in the back of everybody's minds.
In the background.
Yeah, they serve as a reminder.
A civilian aircraft.
A stark reminder.
Yeah.
Of what can happen.
Yeah.
When things go wrong.
And it makes you think, like,
right.
Is this
then they shape how the international community is reacting to this latest incident.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
They're looking at Russia. There's already a ton
of suspicion,
of scrutiny and skepticism around Russia's actions.
And Azerbaijan is saying that they did it on purpose.
And that accusation from the Azerbaijan government that Russia intentionally
shot down
that plane. Even if it turns out to be false, has really
damaged their credibility.
Damaged Russia's credibility. And it's fueled those calls for a thorough investigation.
Yeah, like everybody wants answers.
They want answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think this whole thing could lead to like more sanctions against Russia?
Yeah.
Or like
if it's
diplomatic pressure points to Russian culpability in the downing of that plane.
Right.
The international community is going to have to respond.
They can't just ignore it.
Right. They can't just sit back and do nothing.
Right. So
what could they do?
Sanctions.
Yeah.
Diplomatic censure.
Like publicly condemning them.
Yeah, publicly condemning them.
Yeah.
Maybe even like kicking Russia out of international organizations.
Like the UN.
Yeah, like the UN.
Yeah.
Those are all
that would be
options.
A huge deal.
That could be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a major escalation.
It would be.
Yeah.
A significant escalation.
And it shows how...
And it highlights how interconnected
everything is.
All these events are. You know what might have started as just like a little security issue?
Security incident?
Just closing the airports?
Right. The airport closures...
Yeah.
Have now become like
entangled. All this other stuff.
Web of international relations.
Right.
Military tensions.
And people have died.
And the tragic loss of innocent lives.
It's really sad.
It's really sad.
You know.
It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, it's like a chain reaction.
One thing happens.
Or each event.
And triggers all this different stuff.
And the consequences and uncertainties.
And nobody knows where it's going to end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that in this
crazy world.
Increasingly interconnected world. Even seemingly isolated events. Can have...
like ripples.
Far-reaching implications.
Like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like we've just like scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
Like even with everything we know, there's still just so many.
There are so many
unanswered questions.
It's
kind of crazy how fast things can escalate.
It's scary how quickly things can change.
And like how everything's connected.
Everything is so interconnected.
Yeah, like one little thing can just
in today's world
snowball into this huge thing.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like what might seem just some isolated thing. Some airports closing.
Yeah, exactly.
Can turn into something much bigger.
Right.
Especially when you add in like all the existing tensions and like the history between the countries.
All the baggage.
And like how fast information spreads in a digital age.
Just like we're living in this constant state of like low-grade anxiety.
But we're always waiting for
the next headline.
That's bad news. To just like and wondering what it means for all of us.
For the world.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It can feel pretty overwhelming.
It really can.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel powerless when all this stuff is happening in the world.
And it's like that we can't control.
I can't do anything about it.
But I think it's important to remember that we're not just like passive observer.
We're part of it.
We're all part of this. We all have a role to play in shaping the future.
Well,
even if it's just by like staying informed.
Okay, so stay informed.
Having these conversations.
Yeah.
And holding our leaders accountable.
Right, making our voices heard.
Exactly, making your voice heard.
I really liked what you said earlier.
Oh, yeah.
About critical thinking.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
It is.
Because it's so easy to just get...
It's so easy to get...
swept up.
Caught up?
In the emotion.
In the emotions.
Yeah, whether it's like...
the fear,
anger.
The anger, or just feeling lost.
Yeah, confusion.
And confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you take a step back and really analyze...
just think about it.
The situation.
Yeah.
Look at the evidence.
What do we actually know?
Consider the different perspectives. That's when we can start to understand what's going on.
Make sense of it.
Yeah.
And figure out how to respond.
Exactly. And critical thinking isn't about knowing everything.
It's not about
having
all the answers.
All the answers. It's about asking
the right questions.
The right questions. It's about questioning what you think you know.
Like challenging our assumptions.
Challenging your assumptions. Yeah. Being skeptical.
Like, don't just believe everything you hear.
Of easy explanations.
Yeah.
And being open.
Be open to
changing your mind.
Changing your mind.
When new information comes up. Yeah.
So for these Moscow airport closures.
Yeah.
And everything that's happened.
What are some of the big questions?
And the Q question.
Yeah, that we should be asking.
We should be asking.
Yeah.
Well, I think...
one of the most important ones is, what were they trying to do?
Like, what was the point?
What was the point?
Of closing the airport?
With the airport closures.
Yeah.
Was it just to, like...
be safe?
Be safe? Or was it something else?
Like, were they trying to...
was there, like...
a more strategic objective?
Yeah, like, show everybody who's boss.
Demonstrating control.
Yeah.
Creating a distraction.
Where there are people.
Or sending a signal to Ukraine and its allies.
Right. And like, how does this all fit in?
Yeah, how does this all fit into the bigger picture?
With the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict?
The Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Yeah.
Are we seeing things escalate?
Is this going to get worse?
Or is this just like...
or is this just a blip?
A temporary thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do we know?
And another big one is, how do we know what's true?
Yeah, what to believe.
Yeah.
Because...
we've got all these, it seems like...
conflicting reports.
Everybody's saying...
vague statements.
Something different.
From the government.
Yeah.
And tons of speculation online.
Yeah, like, how do we know?
It's crucial to be discerning.
Yeah.
With the information we take in...
fact check.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Cross-check sources.
Yeah.
Be aware of bias.
Right, because everybody has an agenda.
Everyone's got an agenda.
Yeah. And it's been really interesting.
It has been.
To see all the different reactions to this.
It's been fascinating.
Yeah.
To see how people are reacting.
Like in the media.
In the media.
And just like other people.
The public.
Yeah. Some people are like...
yeah, some people are...
that's just evil.
To condemn Russia.
And then other people are like...
others are more cautious.
Yeah, let's wait and see.
Yeah.
And then some people are just like...
and some are like...
it's not a big deal.
It's no big deal.
It's just like our own perspectives. It makes you realize how much...
our own perspectives.
How we see things.
And preconceptions take shape.
It's like we're all looking...
and we see things.
At the same thing.
Exactly.
But we're seeing something different.
We all come to these situations with our own baggage.
Our own experiences.
Our own beliefs and values.
Yeah. And we have to like...
and it's important
acknowledge that.
To be aware of that.
Yeah.
To acknowledge that...
nobody has the complete picture.
we don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Our understanding of the world
is
always incomplete.
Yeah.
And it's always evolving.
We're always learning.
We're always learning.
So where do we go from here?
That's the big question.
Yeah, like what do we do?
What do we do?
With all of this.
As individuals.
Yeah.
How do we...
this crazy world.
Make sense of this complex and ever-changing world.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first step is to stay curious.
Yeah. Stay curious. Okay. Keep asking questions.
Don't just accept.
Keep seeking information.
Yeah.
Keep challenging.
The easy answers.
Your own assumptions.
Yeah, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Like, talk about this stuff.
To have those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
To listen to people.
Even if you don't agree with them.
Who have different perspectives.
Yeah.
And to really grapple with the complexity.
I don't understand it.
Of these issues.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's like
the thing.
The biggest takeaway.
Of all of this.
From this whole conversation.
Yeah.
It's not about
knowing everything.
having all the answers.
That's about It's about being willing to ask.
Being willing.
Those tough questions.
To be okay with not knowing everything.
To embrace the uncertainty.
The uncertainty.
And just keep learning.
And to keep learning and growing.
As we try to figure
As we navigate the challenges.
This crazy world.
Of our time.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well said.
So on that note.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up this deep dive.
All right.
Thank you all for listening.
Thanks for joining us.
We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate you.
And
this is giving you some new insights.
Some things to think about.
And maybe even more questions.
More questions.
Yeah.
To ponder.
Keep those minds engaged.
Keep those minds engaged. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
For another deep dive.
For another deep dive.
Into this crazy world.
Into this crazy world we live in.
We live in.